Welcome back, True Seeker. Someone asked that I do a longer live stream going over the Madison, Wisconsin Abundant Life Christian School shooting of Monday, December 16th, 2024. And I've decided to do that, and I've done some more research. And again, I hope a lot of people receive this. I hope a lot of people share it. I hope it makes a lot of people ask questions. If you're new here, this channel has been deleted many times. It's been shadow banned to the bottom of the YouTube algorithm. Again, I can hardly get any views on this channel. There are hardly any new people that ever see these videos according to the analytics. And that's a huge difference from nearly a decade ago when videos like this got easily 100K views. And again, I got into doing this to get out the word about major agendas that are undermining what it is to be an American, undermining the quality of life. These agendas are spreading fear. They're taking away rights and liberties. They're making families feel like they just need to stay in the house. It's not safe to be anywhere. Again, I used to be a former teacher in public schools and also worked in private schools briefly. But I used to be disgusted by the way we had to do these active shooter drills and realize I was working in public schools until the 2011-2012 school year. I worked at a private school starting in the fall or late summer of 2012, which was the year of Sandy Hook. And again, I was in high school myself when Columbine happened. And pretty much since Columbine on, there's been active shooter school drills nationwide, but it's picked up the pace. Again, what we used to do where I worked in South Seattle for the drills is we'd turn off the lights and then we'd practice getting in a corner as far away from the door as possible as the principal or the vice principal or another teacher in the school would go down the hallway banging on doors to simulate a psycho, within the school. And I just thought, God, this is just ridiculous. I mean, this is ridiculous. Not to mention, how dumb is this policy? Hide in the corner? Like, what is that going to save you? Hiding in the corner? But no, this is what's been going on in this nation. And in that time, the news stories have picked up the pace with the mass shootings, the threat that it could be any school. And a lot of times it's smaller towns where this happens. Madison's not necessarily the smallest town, but a lot of these shootings are in smaller towns that get broadcast in the news, spreading the fear nationwide, worldwide. And what I've been pointing out is there's ritualism to all of it. Something I haven't talked about yet. If you've watched this news story, they show the footage all the time. They showed the little girl with the SpongeBob SquarePants popsicle, and it's just a short thing. Every time they show her, they said she heard her teacher go, "Ah, my leg, my leg." And I mean, if you're familiar with SpongeBob SquarePants, what's the running gag in that cartoon? Like nearly in every episode, somebody gets their leg injured and they scream out, "My leg." That's the running gag in SpongeBob SquarePants. Nearly every episode, an injury to the leg. So you mean to tell me in this news story, they just got some little girl working on the SpongeBob popsicle in her mouth and going, "I heard my teacher say, my leg." Really? And then also there's a lot of parallels being drawn to Columbine. And when did SpongeBob SquarePants come out? Did it debut on May Day, May 1st, 1999, 11 days after Columbine? Because it did. It did. As they tell you that the police respond. Have you guys seen what time they said the police responded to the school? They said the phone call was made by a second grader at 10:57 a.m. and the first police officer responded at 11 a.m. Recurring time in a lot of these shootings, 11. Again, the master number in numerology, where numerology is a big piece of this. And then also the detail that the shooter was wearing a KMFDM t-shirt, which was the band that the Columbine shooters were inspired by. Again, we're going to cover all this. Did you know KMFDM just started their 40th anniversary tour in the state of Wisconsin not long before the shooting? Yeah, look it up. Their first concert to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the band was in Milwaukee, not far from Madison. And we're going to bring it all together. We're going to see just how perfect it all is. So again, we're going to review some things here. We're going to cover some new things. But yeah, don't forget, right on the surface. And remember how it went that day, the initial reporting when the news broke. They first said 2 dead, and then it went up to at least 4 dead. And they love to report that at least 4 dead in these mass shootings. They report it all the time, and then they often change the number. But again, 4 is the number associated with death in the occult. Again, in the Far East, in Mandarin Chinese, and in Japanese, the number 4 is pronounced the same way as death. But it went to at least 4, and then it went back down to 2 where they started. But again, they also compared this to Sandy Hook. This shooting was 2 days after the anniversary of Sandy Hook. 2 dead, they report. The shooting reported by a second grader. You mean to tell me everybody else in the school was like what? Only the second grader had it together? And again, what are they targeting? They're targeting the Second Amendment. And again, they do it ritualistically by the numbers. So the little girl, if you guys want to come to my website, GematriaEffect.news, I have the audio clip here. You can play it. You can listen to her say, I heard my teacher say, my leg. It's just like, you got to be kidding me. Again, here's from the news story. The little girl, recounting what she saw while eating a SpongeBob popsicle, said she heard cries from a teacher. She was screaming, my leg, help, help, Nora said. And again, the running gag in SpongeBob SquarePants is my leg, my leg. And yes, SpongeBob SquarePants did debut on the establishment anniversary of the Illuminati, which is also May Day, May 1st, 1999. Columbine was April 20th, Hitler's birthday, 1999. So 11 days later, as they bring up all of these details in this shooting. And again, they said the shooter was wearing the same T-shirt of the band that inspired Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, and a T-shirt and a band, I should say, a band, KMFDM, out of Germany, where the Illuminati was founded. You should look into some of the hit songs of this group. They're singing about the occult and everything. One of their biggest songs ever, Stray Bullet. Again, you look at their top 3 songs, I think it's Anarchy, Megalomaniac, and Stray Bullet. You know, Megalomaniac is talking about the occult. Stray Bullet, I mean, just goes without saying. Anarchy's talking about crucifixion. This comes right before Christmas. Anyhow, look at this, you guys. The 40th anniversary tour for this band did kick off with their first concert in Milwaukee on October 16th. So 2 months later was December 16th, the day of the shooting. But look at this. It was 61 days later. And I can't tell you how many times I've covered the number 61 in an active shooter story over the 11 plus years that I've been here doing this now. It's hundreds, easily. It's easily hundreds of times. And again, she's got the T-shirt on of the band that opened up the tour 61 days earlier. And her name in Gematria equates to 61, like active shooter. It's maddening that more people don't accept this information. You know, and somehow just think it's all some kind of contriving and looking for patterns to force it, to make us. It's like, you guys, it'd be impossible for me to draw these parallels and contrive all this perfectly so that it lines up each time so that it's me forcing the story. That would be impossible. What is possible is that all this is being planned by a cabal, like the Illuminati. And again, people will be like, the Illuminati folded years ago. I watched the History Channel documentary that Adam Weishaupt, who was Jesuit trained, became an alcoholic and a gambler, and his life fell apart, and so did the Illuminati. Okay, it's like, okay, he was the leader and brought together 13 very powerful families. So because he fell off, that means the whole thing fell off? Where is the logic in that? These people are paying tribute to the Illuminati all the time. We just talked about this with Daniel Penny. In Gematria, the Illuminati equals 153. From George Floyd getting kneeled on, which was compared to the Daniel Penny and Jordan Neely story from George Floyd to, and by the way, the George Floyd had the Illuminati fingerprints all over it. From George Floyd to Daniel Neely getting killed on the Illuminati's birthday was exactly 153 weeks later. And that's just another one of a million examples, but it's buzzing in the news right now too, so I bring it up. But again, the Illuminati, founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. The original Jesuit, Ignatius Loyola, was in the Alumbrado, which was a Kabbalistic Illuminati type order. Again, this whole thing of letters and numbers and words comes from Kabbalah, which is where the term the cabal comes from. And understand, 61 is not an arbitrary number. It's not just that Natalie Rupnow equals 61, an active shooter, and it's 61 days after their opening concert in the same state, Wisconsin. 61 is special. Again, gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, means geometry and language. And in sacred geometry, the most special shape is the flower of life made out of 61 overlapping circles. This number is associated with God. These people are playing God by a Kabbalistic code, scaring the daylights out of everyone, raising generations now of younger people to live in fear of all kinds of violence, gun violence, germs, and just give up their rights and liberty and even their bodily sovereignty and submit to the coming meta, virtual reality world. I mean, we're already close to it. People just like even myself call it, I don't want this to be my life where every day I'm sitting here exposing tyranny through the internet, through a computer screen, because it's the best way to reach people. I prefer to be out on the streets, pounding pavement, speaking in places like busy city corners like we do. But again, you can actually effectively reach more people by just doing it through the web. Anyhow, they've created this society that lives in front of computers, and they're moving us more and more into something more immersive, like virtual reality. They've told us that this meta virtual reality world will be ready for us by 2030. You can see how a younger generation is just going to want to be there. They're marketing all the appeal of it. It'll be a safer place. It'll be germ-free. It'll be mass shooter-free. You can go to school in virtual reality and hardly have ever any human contact with people. This is where they're taking us to. I hope it doesn't happen as soon as 2030, but don't kid yourself. It might. It could still be a century away, but this is where they're moving humanity to a less and less natural place where, again, your life is, it's totally synthetic. Anyway, remember, gematria, it's based on the alphabetic order, forwards and backwards. There's 4 base ciphers of the English language, the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology. What we're looking at, Natalie Rupnow, an active shooter, equates to 61 when you take the alphabetic order with numerology applied. Christian and Christmas equals 61 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology applied. And I think that's a lot of things. See, that's the thing that's why it's so hard to get people to understand this, because it's foreign to them. They look at this right away and they immediately have all these pre-programmed things in their mind. They just want to dismiss what hasn't been, normal for them their whole life. I know a lot of people will instantly they'll be like, I bet he just typed that up in a program to make it equal 61. It's like, no, this is a system that is mathematical, that's based on an alphabetic order that neither you nor I chose. I didn't create the alphabetic order. Mathematics. Again, I learned about this code from looking into things because I saw there was number rituals going on with the authorities starting with 9/11. But anyway, again, coming back to how this works. A Christian school right before Christmas. And remember, the shooting was on 9-date numerology. They said she used a 9mm, and the shooting was literally 9 days before Christmas. Keep in mind the word sun, S-U-N, equals 9, and Christmas is traditionally the birth of the sun, Sol Invictus, celebrated by the Catholic Church on 12/25 since 274 AD. And again, the Jesuit motto, the Jesuits gave us the calendar language. The Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, equates to 274. It's another topic. But coming back to this ritual, this was to celebrate the 40th anniversary of this band with the tour opening in Wisconsin. 40th anniversary. And notice, Again, the Columbine shooters were reportedly inspired by this band. Columbine equates to 40. United States equates to 40. And by the way, I just got to pause right here. The way people just get so offended with information. Somebody left a tirade of a message saying I was an idiot for blaming KMFDM for this shooting. I'm not blaming KMFDM. Again, people come to false conclusions. There, at no point in any video did I ever say KMFDM is responsible for this. What I am saying is responsible is the people who control entertainment and these bands. I doubt KMFDM realized that when they were opening their tour, and it's possible that they are, but I'm doubting that it's them who's realizing that when they're opening their tour in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that this is going to happen 61 days later. You have to look into the record labels and the people who own these stadiums. Again, the people who are the cabal, the people who have the power and the wealth and who run media and want to control populaces. So again, the entertainers get used. But yeah, it's like people's listening skills are so bad and they arrive at false conclusions. The point of my work is simply to show how we are being mocked and lied to ritualistically day after day with one streamlined agenda that continues to take rights and liberties away from people, create a culture of fear, and create the problems that you see in society. There's a reason that children don't play outside anymore. Parents don't want to let their children go outside because they're afraid. And now you're dealing with a different problem. Now you're dealing with a health crisis. 50% of U.S. children are considered obese. Think about how crazy that is. When I was a child coming up in the 80s and 90s, maybe 1 out of 500 children was obese, 1 out of 500. Now it's half. That's insane. And that's because of stuff like this. But yeah, 40th anniversary of the band, Columbine, United States. And again, with the alphabetic order, even just US is 40. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, USA is 40. Very central number to this nation, very biblical number as well. And again, biblical rituals are a big part of this. This is targeting a Christian school just for Christmas. I noticed that KMFDM must be kind of a cult band because they only have 72,000 subs on their YouTube page. And I'm going to say this is coincidental. It is interesting, though, that the shooting did happen on 72 date numerology. I bring that up because Columbine in Jewish gematria, what Derek, who is Jewish, who's from the Milwaukee area, he renamed it Latin. Shouldn't have. It's Jewish gematria. I noticed that Gematrix also renamed it from Jewish to Hebrew gematria, which I find interesting. Like, I feel I move away from the original cipher name. But anyway, Columbine does equate to 359, which is the 72nd prime number. And of course, that's big with the Jesuits, which are a Catholic Jewish alliance, which came out of the Protestant Reformation. Also, since it was Eric Harris who wore the KMFDM t-shirt from his birthday, and notice his birthday is 49, gun control 49. We've talked about this 1,000 times with gun control as well, the 49 encode. The first digits in the address of the Abundant Life Christian School Church are 4901. But anyway, from his birthday anniversary to the shooting was 251 days, which is the 54th prime number. Again, Jesuit orders 54 when you run it forwards, 72 when you run it in reverse. Remember, sun with the alphabetic order is 54, with the alphabetic order in numerology is 9. This happened 9 days before the birth of the sun, according to the Catholic Church. And again, the sun moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. There's a reason for all this. The Jesuits, we get the first Jesuit Pope on the 72nd day of the year. We get the first Jesuit University from John Carroll when he's 54 years old. The Jesuit headquarters is the Church of the Jesu, building 54. But again, this is the gang that's behind the ritualism. Now, coming back to the SpongeBob thing, again, the little girl who's been shown a bunch of times with the popsicle, saying she heard her teacher say, my leg, when the running gag in SpongeBob is my leg. Again, SpongeBob came out 11 days after Columbine. The Columbine shooting was, again, on Hitler's birthday. And by the way, they're saying this little girl was inspired by Nazis, the shooter at Abundant Life Christian School. Remember, the Nazis were modeled after the Jesuit order. We'll come back to that. But Columbine, again, on Hitler's birthday in 99, Columbine High School 99, the United States of America is 99. It was named that on September 9th, 1776. United States of America is also 132, and it was named that 132 days from the anniversary of the establishment of the Illuminati by a Jesuit, Adam Weishaupt, when the Jesuits served the Catholic Church, and both Catholic Church and Roman Catholic equal 132. Has to do with the Catholic who designed the White House and why there's 132 rooms in it. But again, these numbers are interesting and symbolic. If you spell out 13 as a word, it also equals 99. The Illuminati was founded on 99 date numerology with 13 families. Of course, the United States of America is the land of 13 stripes, 13 colonies. And again, Columbine has the 40 connection, like KMFDM's on their 40th anniversary tour. SpongeBob is 40. And it might be worth looking more into the tour of KMFDM. Are they going to sync up more shootings in more cities with that tour? Don't kid yourself. Columbine 40, SpongeBob 40. Again, United States 40. Ritualism. Something else that is interesting, that band KMFDM was established in 84, George Orwell's 1984. SpongeBob SquarePants equals 84. Remember, their founder died the other year, November 26, 2018. That means this shooting was 72 months and days later as well, now that I think about it, because that would have been 6 years ago. But again, SpongeBob SquarePants equals 84, like KMFDM established in 84, the Jesuit orders 84, the small way, Jesuits 84, the big way, Stephen Hillenburg, the creator who died November 26, 2018, his name's 84, covered that at the time. And from the anniversary of the debut of SpongeBob, May 1st, to this shooting was 229 days later, the 50th prime. If you run it in reverse, Columbine's also 50, like gun control, like Jesuits, like America. You could add Washington to that list too, the capital. Washington's 50 in the same cipher as Columbine, gun control, and Jesuits. And remember, Washington, D.C. is where the Jesuits set up camp. Again, the year that Georgetown was established is the same year that George Washington was recognized as the first president. And again, America is the land of 50 states and many territories. Also, the name of the little girl that they used with the SpongeBob popsicle, who said she heard her teacher say, my leg. Her name, Nora Gottschalk. I even just think about that surname. It just kind of reminds you of a crime scene where people were killed, right? Gottschalk, how they chalk the scene, chalk the body line. Nora Gottschalk, 56 and 79, like Society of Jesus, right? 56 and 79. She's a young little girl, reminding you that the children at Sandy Hook were first graders. Remember, the shooter at Sandy Hook was Adam Peter Lanza, whose name is 56 and 79, like Society of Jesus. Don't forget that these were the numbers all over the scandemic as well. Anthony Fauci, Jesuit educated, equals 56. The pandemic was declared on his 79th day of being 79 years old. And again, Sandy Hook was established in 1956. 56 years later, in 2012, was the shooting. They had to give you this story about the Sandy Hook first responder who died of COVID-19, and they had to show you a picture of him next to a police vehicle where all you can see on the license plate is 56. And remember, you guys, the first vaccinated person in America was Sandy Lindsay on December 14th. The anniversary of Sandy Hook. Shots fired at Sandy Hook, vaccine shots for Sandy Lindsay on the anniversary. And again, these things are not an accident. This story of this man who was a Sandy Hook first responder who died from COVID-19, or AKA coronavirus, the 56 virus. Notice how his name fits in. Patrick Dragon, very similar. Rather than 56 and 79, it's 65 and 79. Same digits, just reshuffled. And again, with regards to Sandy Hook, they had to tell you that Adam Lanza weighed 112 pounds. The Society of Jesus, a.k.a. the Jesuits, operate in 112 countries. It was compared to the Dune Blaine massacre, which happened 201 months later. The Jesuit orders 201. 201 was the simulation. Event 201 was the simulation for COVID-19 or coronavirus. But yeah, 112-pound Adam Lanza. Every media source had to tell you he was 112 pounds. Sandy Hook, 112. Catholicism, 112. Mathematics, 112. But yeah, COVID vaccine, coronavirus, Society of Jesus, all 56. How they bring all these psyops together. All of these things creating the culture of fear, which is what shapes culture. I mean, that might as well be the culture of America now. Just culture. Everyone's afraid of everything. Fake news creates real realities. I had to tell you he was 50 Patrick Dragon. And here we are in the year of the dragon again. Sandy Hook happened in the year of the dragon. This man's name was reportedly Patrick Dragon. We told you at the beginning of the pandemic. I wrote a book about it. I mean, it's in print, so go back and read it. I said, right at the start of the pandemic, why they would wind it down as soon as the year of the tiger came around. Tiger has the 201 connection, and there was tiger symbolism everywhere with the scandemic through the world of celebrity. Like nearly every celebrity that came out and said they had the virus was wearing something with a tiger on it, tiger print, literal tiger symbol, baby in tiger pajamas. I think Pink was showing that her baby nearly died from COVID-19 while he's in tiger pajamas. Again, the world of entertainment used to control the minds of the masses because they know they got the minds of the masses hooked up through the entertainment. This is a society fixated on entertainment, living vicariously through TV screens and celebrity. So, again, just how these same numbers recur. And in this case, they find the little girl with just the right name, Nora Gottschalk. And in light of saying that the shooter was inspired by Nazis, what age did Adolf Hitler supposedly die at? In my 13 years of slave school, they taught us the same lesson multiple times, pledging to 13 stripes, that short mustache man committed suicide at age 56, but his body was never found. And I always thought that was dumb when I was in school, just like I thought the lessons of Columbus were dumb, paid for by the Catholic Church for his voyage was Columbus. I just said, these stories don't make sense. How does Columbus discover a land where people already live? How does Hitler commit suicide, but his body's never found? Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, we never found his body, but he committed suicide. Oh, okay. I wish I would have known gematria in school. I would have been bringing it up to my teachers, probably getting sent to the principal's office. Adolf Hitler, 56, 187. Society of Jesus, 56, 187. And, of course, 79. And you saw how Adolf had the 61 as well, right? Adolf Hitler, 61. The Christian against Jews, even though Jesus was a Jew from Judea. Stories that just don't really add up. And that's the thing, too. I mean, everybody wants, I think that's part of the reason. I think the algorithm and all the deletions killed my channel, but I think also laser focusing on the Jesuits, once I was 1,000,000% certain that that's who's running the show, it's pretty obvious. Again, they gave us the language and calendar, and who else would have synced up this whole system with them? People don't want to hear that. People want to blame everything on small caps, and we'll come back to that, too, with what else was buzzing in the news yesterday on the Pope's birthday. But okay, we got these stories covered. Again, just about the girl again, a 15-year-old on the day leaving 15 days left in the year. It just triggers the subliminal thought about AR-15s, which are typically the focus. In this case, they said she used a 9mm 9 days before the son's birthday. Again, son's got the old 9. Sol Invictus. Unconquered sun. Again, unconquered sun, what Sol Invictus means. Do you see the gematria of 191 and 187, just like Society of Jesus? 191 is the 43rd prime, Jesus Christ 43. Again, science, according to science, Jesus crucifixion's April 3rd. But yeah, this girl, Natalie Ruppnow, 61 forward, 74 in reverse, just like active shooter. Jesus and cross have the 61 and 74 connection. Again, 61 represents God in sacred geometry. So why wouldn't the Son of God have 61 encoded in his name? Again, Christian and Christmas equals 61, as does church. Special number. Madison, Wisconsin also has the 74. It's a deadly number is 74. That's why 3 of the first 5 presidents died on 7/4, who were all outspoken critics of the Catholic Church. Catholics also 35, like 1225, like the number 1225, which has a square root of 35. And remember, the Roman name for Jesus is Jesus, which is also what's used in the Jesuit motto, Jesus Omnium Salvator. Jesus is 35. His birthday being moved to 1225, when again, 1225 has a square root of 35. Catholic 35. Holy See, the territories the Catholic Church controls, is 35. Jesuitism is 35. The word I is 35. The eyes of God, the verse in Genesis 3:5. The all-seeing eye, the sun being the eye of God, an occult belief. There's a reason for all of this. But anyhow, killing Masonic, occult, gematria, English. Also, all equals 74. And there's a lot more to that list too. But just holiday and Independence Day are 74. Just with regards to Christianity, Jesus, Messiah, cross, parables, gospel, should have added that list. Jewish, they're all 74. Big time killing number. 74th birthday of Israel. We said there'd be some terrible killing tragedy. It ended up being the white supremacist in Buffalo in the black neighborhood at the Tops. And remember, stolen identities. Hebrew Israelites will tell you all about it, but white supremacist has that 74 too, just going with what they did on Israel's 74th birthday. White supremacist is also 223, like the synagogue of Satan, which is mentioned in Revelation, in the letter written to the Church of Philadelphia about those who claim to be Jews but are not, the synagogue of Satan, 223, like Philadelphia. Again, the Catholic Church has been instrumental in helping prop up the synagogue of Satan in their Jesuit-controlled nation that we call Israel. Remember all the killing they were doing in Gaza while Gaza was 74 years old, just to make a point? You know what I mean? So, yeah, there she is with the shirt. Supposedly the last photo taken before the shooting rampage. Where was her 9 at? Again, KM, FDM, the band, 47, like news, like government, like authority, also like Christian. Andy No, the guy with the British accent that's supposedly from Portland that somehow gets to break news before the mainstream media can. Remember, this guy used me getting bear sprayed by Antifa to market his own book, this scumbag. But people need to question guys like this. Andy No, who gets these millions of views on social media. How does he, like, if you guys don't know who he is, again, he's a gay guy, claims to be from Portland, even though he has a British accent. He's now living in Britain because he said he had to get away from the threats in his homeland, the United States. Again, I'm from Portland, Oregon. You guys never met anybody from Portland that has a British accent. But yeah, if you don't know, what was it, January 16th? What year was that? I think it was the year of Super Bowl 55. I think it was just for Super Bowl 55. So it would have been almost 4 years ago now. But yeah, I got bear sprayed by Antifa in the face. You know what, though? It was good for Pal's Books because after they bear sprayed me, Antifa cleared out and they were able to reopen the store. That was the national news story at the time that Pal's Books was shut down by Antifa, who had it locked down. I went there to pass out my book for free to Antifa and educate them about what real fascism is, because shutting down bookstores is not what anti-fascists do. It's what fascists do. And ended up getting bear sprayed in the face by the ringleader. But it was a good experience, minus the bear spray in the face. Because I saw how that Antifa, there are like real people that get sucked into that, and they were the ones listening and asking questions, but they had this, again, they all cover their faces, so it's hard to see them, but their ringleader was this really frail woman. I mean, she looked anorexic, just like as white as the computer monitor. I mean, she was as white as a ghost, but she kept screaming at me to put a mask on because I wasn't wearing my Cooties 19 mask at the time. And I kept saying to her, I said, don't you know that's part of a fascist agenda? And she was getting so mad. She kept saying, put your mask on. But anyway, if you guys haven't seen how that whole thing unfolded, a guy came and he asked for me to sign his book, or, well, sign my book, or hit the book he owned that I wrote. And right when I went to sign it, the Antifa crowd started screaming that he said the N-word. So they tried to jump him, and I got in there to help him out because I felt bad. And yeah, I mean, it was a mob of them versus There were other people from our group there, but they all stayed back, and I don't blame them because Antifa had weapons and everything. But I wasn't going to let this guy get jumped. And the people who were on top of him, two of them were huge and maulers. But anyway, I just ended up getting bear sprayed in the face. And Andy No had some cameraman there and captured it all. And he literally put it up and he was like, look, people were fighting over my book in front of and that view that got a ton of views. And it's like, weren't fighting over your book. Please. It's out there passing out my book, showing them what real fascism is. But yeah, this goon had to use me getting bear sprayed in the face. And he gets to go on all the cable news. He gets to go on CNN, Fox, MSNBC's on all the networks. And just another liar, too. I mean, literally a guy with a British accent saying he's from Portland, Oregon, promoting, the LGBTQ agenda. Yeah. Anyway, he was the guy who got all the information on the girl before the news media did. They syndicated his information. So again, you have to ask, how does this guy get information? And I was getting to the point that he got famous doxing Antifa members. How do you dox people when you can't even see who they are? They have masks and all that's showing is the skin around their eyes. Again, it's because Antifa's, just like when I was in Seattle, educating about all this stuff. We asked the cop and got him to say point blank period on camera. I said, why don't you guys do anything about Antifa? And he said, you need to go to the authorities in the city council and ask why they've made it so that we can't do anything about them. Again, these things are all operations. Antifa's part of it. People like Andy No are a part of it. All right. Also, just to make another point, it's amazing how, they've drawn these parallels to Columbine. And again, it was reported that the Columbine killers wanted to hijack airplanes and fly them into skyscrapers in New York City. And again, Dylan Klebold was born September 11th. So one of the Columbine kids was born on 9/11. The other one was born on the 110th day of the year. And remember, World Trade Centers were 110 stories tall. Rockefeller equals 110, as does Osama bin Laden. They put out the movie Pearl Harbor that year with Ben Affleck, 110 days from 9/11. Bush would use the term cave dweller to describe bin Laden. Cave dwellers, 110. Again, the Rockefellers were responsible for the World Trade Center project. But anyway, this was like one of the biggest psyops in the nation, creating the culture of fear just before 9/11. Probably the other big psyop just before that was Oklahoma City, which is it's all connected. We've been out in Oklahoma City pounding. Again, you guys, that's what I wish more people get behind us. When we went to Oklahoma City, they had to change the festivity for the first time ever. For the first time ever, they moved the commemoration to inside of a church. It was normally done outside in front of the memorial, but they knew we were in town. And remember, right when I showed up in town, they had all the security out there and the threats and said if I spoke, I'd be arrested. But again, we're not trying to go there and disturb people who lost loved ones. We're trying to go there and educate and get people to wake up to what's really going on. It's so obvious the same Jesuit cabal is behind Oklahoma City and all these things. Oklahoma City happened on April 19th, the tragic date. That's the day in history Ignatius of Loyola became the first superior general of the Jesuits. And yeah, they said it was in response to Waco with 33-year-old David Koresh, and then eventually Timothy McVeigh, a CIA asset, gets put to death at age 33. Anyway, coming back to this, they wanted to hijack planes, the Columbine shooters, and fly them into skyscrapers in New York. One of their birthdays is 9/11. Isn't it interesting that from September 11th to this shooting, where the shooter was inspired by them, was 1,214 weeks later, when Sandy Hook was on December 14th, 1214, the anniversary of George Washington dying with a Jesuit priest at his side. And again, when Stoneman Douglas happened, they had to tell you that the majority of students killed were in Holocaust Remembrance Class, room 1214. And then somebody pointed out the next most deadly room was room 1216, which now becomes the date of this. And remember, when you spell out, here's the thing about 1214. 1214, you spell it out as words. 191, 187, just like Society of Jesus. Just like Unconquered Sun, which is Christmas Day, and Sol Invictus, and this is sync with that. And if you also write out December 14th, it's also 187. homicide code. And who died on that day in history? George Washington, 187. Like Washington, D.C. is 187. Like Society of Jesus is 187. Like Holy Roman Empire is 187, etc., etc. 187 chapters in the Torah. Abrahamic is 187. The Abrahamic religions are based out of the Torah. And Christianity, of course, is one of them. But yeah, just these same recurring numbers. What are the odds that it would be exactly a span of 1,214 weeks from 9/11, which came right after Columbine, where Columbine, what was reported, was drawing parallels to what was come, reporting that these kids wanted to hijack planes and fly them into skyscrapers? I mean, at the time, nobody was looking into how Dylan Klebold was born on 9/11. And again, just the other guy's birthday being April 9th. Again, gun control, big gun control pattern, 49. And gun control 139, that the 94 assault weapons ban was on the 13th of September. Tupac would end up dying from gun violence on that day. He's got the 139 in his name. Again, that's Caesar Borgia's birthday, where White Jesus comes from. And then they put out the Machiavelli album, and Machiavelli wrote The Prince based on Caesar Borgia. And then after Prince died by the numbers, which sadly we called the day his girlfriend died on the Grammys earlier that year. Again, you can still go to Jeff Young's Music Without Boundaries from February 2016 and listen to that broadcast, us calling out what's coming for Prince, who died on 4/21 when he had the hit song 33 years, recorded 33 years earlier. It came out in 84. So, but Purple Rain was recorded in 83. I Would Die For You, number 4, letter U, 4/21. Use the 21st letter, dies on 4/21. Anyhow, right after Prince died, days later, it was May 3rd, and the news broke that Tupac's mom was dead on May 3rd, which is the real Machiavelli's birthday. Machiavelli, who wrote The Prince. And yeah, Tupac's mom did die May 2nd, but the news didn't break until Machiavelli's birthday, May 3rd. Again, all this major ritualism from the cabal. Every day, mockery in the news. We're being lied to. We're not being told the whole story. Things are being contrived. People are getting killed. People are getting afraid. And again, this whole 47 thing too. Again, the CIA, established in 47. The CIA had the mind control program, MK Ultra. Hollywood did the movie about the Manchurian Candidate, which alluded to the MK Ultra program and the CIA making killers, people who can be controlled to do ritual murder. Again, is it a you watch too many movies thing, or is it them telling us things that are going on in Hollywood? And speaking of Hollywood, at this point too, Hollywood put out the film First Reformed, about the Abundant Life Church, not to be confused with the Abundant Life Christian School. And it's interesting because it was directed by Paul Schrader, who did the movie Taxi Driver, which is a movie about a guy who's a little off, who's thinking about killing, who's thinking about assassination, and who in the end goes and kills a pimp because he doesn't like the way a young prostitute is, being manipulated. Anyhow, this film with Ethan Hawke, who's also in a film with Anthony Hopkins about Jesuit priests, this film, part of the plot is one of the main characters self-deletes themselves with a gun. And it's just interesting that from the release date, May 18th, to the school shooting, May 18th, 2018 is when this movie came out. Same year that the SpongeBob creator died, now that I think about it. But from the release of that movie to the shooting was 78 months and days later. And again, the school was established in 78, Abundant Life at 4901. And Paul Schrader, the director of the film, who did Taxi Driver, he's 78 years old, and the name of the movie, First Reformed, is 78, like Scottish Rite, like Order Out of Chaos, like Jesuit. And again, Jesuit priests wrote the rites for the Scottish Rite, and those are the two big secret societies in the nation's capital when it looks like this is some kind of federal agenda. And notice also that Abundant Life Christian Church has the 159 in it, just like Scottish Rite. or excuse me, Abundant Life Christian School, equals 159. And it also equals 120, which is the 15th triangular number. Going with the shooting being on the day, leaving 15 days left in the year. 15-year-old girl blamed. For the record, the word Illuminati is 120, and the Illuminati was established on the first day of the 5th month, the day SpongeBob came out. Okay. Let me see where I tucked it in. There was something else I wanted to show. Maybe it's in this post. This was the initial decode we did. And if you weren't watching this, I broke this down in real time. The news broke while I was doing the live stream on the New Jersey drones. So at the end of the New Jersey drones live stream from December 16th, I was doing that in the morning, and then this news broke. I just started out by talking about how 44 is just the recurring number, and there's been plenty of stories like this out of Wisconsin, one of the two true 44 states. The two true 44 states are Wisconsin and Georgia, states that share history through the Braves, who used to be in Milwaukee, and Hank Aaron, who wore 44, who died in a 44 ritual before the Braves won the World Series, RIP. That was right after he got the cooties jab. But then I just started talking about that, and then I was like, well, let's start to look at it. And right away I said, we always look at the mayor and the governor. And we said, well, what do you know? The shooting happened on the 44th day of the mayor's age. And Madison, comma WI, like you'd write out on an envelope, equates to 44, like Wisconsin's 44. Again, it's a big-time killing military number, and so often the mass shooters are former military. In this case, they ended up saying it's a girl and student at school who was somewhat bullied. But just the point about how all these words have the 44 connection. Right now, Trump's appointed the 44-year-old to lead the Pentagon. Again, last time it was Mad Dog Mattis. Mad Dog equals 44. Mattis 44. This time it's a 44-year-old. And this time that appointment was made with the guy that they're trying to get in there. What's his name? Hedgeseth, however you say his name. 44 years old and has Templar tattoos on his chest, just like how in the middle of the Jesuit order logo is the Templar cross. And that appointment by Jesuit-educated Trump was made on the Superior General's birthday, who's the leader of the Jesuits, who consider themselves a military order. But yeah, gunfire, mass shooters, shooting, Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, all 44. Officer, of course, goes to the police. Just had Officer French Fry at the McDonald's arrest Luigi Mangione, who shot the CEO 44 months after he became the CEO on a Wednesday, the only 44 day of the week. Again, Tony Evers, shooting happened on the 42nd day of his age. Madison, 42, like Jesuit, like Freemason. Gun and ammo both equal 42. On the day leaving 15 days left in the year, when gun and ammo also equal 15. Again, 201's the high calling card of the Jesuits. The shooting was 201 days after the anniversary of Wisconsin's establishment. It goes with Sandy Hook coming 201 months after Dune Blaine, which got gun rights taken away in the UK. It goes with this U.S. History of gun control. The nation's first major gun control legislation was in 1968, exactly 201 days after the killing of Martin Luther King Jr. And realize in all of these stories, they're showing you the surveillance power. They're like, right now, the authorities are tracking where the gun was purchased, by who, what date. Again, the reason none of this was set up at the beginning of the country is because the country wasn't meant to be a surveillance state where Big Brother could keep eyes and ears on every move you made. It was supposed to be a land of the free, home of the brave, people with spiritual, righteous values where they're not killing their neighbors, but they're armed and protected to protect themselves from tyrants, foreign and domestic. But yeah, again, MLK was killed on the 95th day of the year. He assumed the name Martin Luther, who wrote the 95 Theses. If you look in history from Martin Luther pinning the 95 Theses to the Jesuits being created August 15th, 1534, that was 201 months later. Again, we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, the first live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. Again, the simulation for the cooties was Event 201, put on by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab, who's from Germany, like the Illuminati. For the record, Order of Illuminati equates to 201, which was created by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, and Adam Weishaupt died in history 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment. This number's all over, omnipresent in Jesuit domination across the world. It gets its meaning from Hebrew, where it represents enlightenment. Knowledge is light. And funny enough, in English, the phrase knowledge is power is 201. But again, the Illuminated, the Illuminati, an Italian word, like, the Jesuit headquarters is in Italy now, founded originally in Paris, France. And you know what else was founded in Paris, France? KMFDM. They're a German band founded in Paris, which is interesting. And of course, James Madison was the president of the United States when the Jesuits came out of suppression. Madison, Wisconsin is named after James Madison. Remember, Jesuit order also equates to 144, like the United States of America, and the Jesuits literally came out of suppression 144 days after James Madison's birthday, and they came out of suppression on the 7th of August, which can be written 7/8, like Jesuit 78. Again, the Sandy Hook parent who leads the crusade against the First and Second Amendment. Her name is 201, Noah Posner's mother. Aaron Rodgers, who's another 201, he was accused of being a Sandy Hook conspiracy theorist last year, right at the time of the anniversary of Dune Blaine. It happened on the 28th anniversary of the Dune Blaine massacre, which was compared to Sandy Hook, or Sandy Hook was compared to it. Again, they happened 201 months apart. Dune Blaine was on the 73rd day of the year, March 13th, 96, a leap year. 28th anniversary. This comes up. Adam Lanza had the 73 and 28. Newtown, Connecticut was on the 73rd Meridian West. And again, from Dune Blaine to Sandy Hook, 201 months. Celebrity was also involved in Dune Blaine because, God, what's the famous tennis player who supposedly survived the massacre? Was it Andy Murray? Let me see. Andy Murray, Dune Blaine, is that right? Yeah, it was Andy Murray. So, and again, I mean, you see this time and time again too, how it just somehow, some ways, like, what a coincidence. Well, what's the odd that person went there? It's like the Uvalde shooting. That was on the 144th day of the year, right after the 144 ritual at the Tops in Buffalo. That was 144 days after Peter Canisius' death anniversary. Jesuit priest to Canisius University, just down the street from Tops University. Again, the Buffalo Tops shooting on Israel's birthday. 144 days after the Peter Canisius death anniversary, a Jesuit priest who Canisius University is named after, which is just blocks down the street from the Tops. But that shooting was also 201 days from Hillary Clinton's birthday, who's a Jesuit who cut the ribbon on the store when it opened, which was a big political thing. And then on the 144th day of the year, just days later, you had the Uvalde shooting, and it was 201 days after Matthew McConaughey's birthday, who became part of that because that was his hometown. And then he went to the White House later that year, 201 days from his upcoming birthday, and called for gun control when the nation's first gun control was 201 days after the MLK assassination. And anyway, just on and on and on, you guys. There's a million examples. But bringing up Aaron Rodgers, whose full name is 201, on the anniversary of Dune Blaine. And that was a day after RFK Jr., who's Jesuit educated, who lost both of his relatives in Jesuit assassination rituals, both with 144. His dad at 144 in the morning, his uncle 144 days from meeting with the Pope. That's JFK and RFK. But this was a day after RFK Jr. was apparently considering Aaron Rodgers for vice president. Why not? Wouldn't be any different than any other of the actor stooges they put in there. It's just a puppet position. But yeah, in light of federal operations, it was also that this shooting in Madison was 275 days after James Madison's birthday anniversary, which is also on the 16th. A Jesuit since the 16th century. Don't forget that one. But federal government's 275, and it does look like all these operations in these towns are federal. And look, I have that on camera too. YouTube took down my video on it, but I still have it up on my BitChute. When I went, you guys remember when there was the shooting at the Kroger-owned store 201 days from the anniversary of the death of Kroger here in Washington State in the Tri-Cities? I went to the scene. We got the cop in charge, who was the one that was being quoted all over the media, to admit on camera that he said he was not allowed to go in and see the crime scene himself. The feds were in charge. So I said, so how are you relaying the messages to the media about what's going on? And he said, through the information I'm getting in my cell phone. He said, us are only allowed to stay outside the store and watch the proximity. The feds are in charge of the crime scene. And then remember what the story was. They ended up reporting that a 38-year-old killed a 38-year-old on the 38th day of the year, February 7th, which can be written 7/2 like 72, like Jesuit Order 72, like this happened on 72 date numerology. And then later they did change it to a 38-year-old killed a 37-year-old, but they had to report that the feds found the shooter 11 hours later. Again, just same recurring numbers over and over. 11, the master number in numerology. And, on the news, they were reporting that there was a manhunt for him. But then when I got to the scene of the crime, the helicopter and the pilot who were supposed to be doing the manhunt from the air, they were parked in the Fred Meyer parking lot. Fred Meyer's owned by Kroger out here in the Pacific Northwest. Kroger owns all kinds of chains all across the nation, biggest grocery store out there next to Walmart. But yeah, I mean, you guys can watch that video. Go to my BitChute, Zachary K. Hubbard, GematriaEffectNews, and God, time flies. What year was that? That must have been February 7th, 2022. That's when it was. 201 days after the death anniversary of Kroger. And again, the main cop quoted all over the place. He says, right to me on camera. He says, I understand why you're out here questioning these things. Like he knew that I was onto something. And then he literally admitted that even though he's the one getting quoted in the media, he didn't see anything with his own eyes. Everything relayed to him through cell phone. And also, if you watch that broadcast, you'll see that there's a news media out there on the scene. The local NBC team was out there. And I was trying to share with them what I knew about the ongoing 201 patterns in these mass shootings. And they didn't want to hear anything about it. And literally, their cameraman swatted my cell phone out of my hands, just swatted it right to the ground, put a nice little chip in the corner of the phone. And imagine had I done that to their camera, I would have been arrested on the spot, right? The police didn't even care that they did that to me. They were right there. They saw it, didn't even care at all. And again, then somebody who was watching that at the time did research and noticed that NBC was being syndicated. That the story, they were reading through their cell phones too. And that's why I started calling them out for. I said, so this is how you guys report, huh? You get messages through your cell phone. And then you talk into the camera like you're on the ground with all the latest, but all your stuff's coming through the cell phone. I wonder if I can pull this up real quick. Hold on. Somebody looked this up who was syndicating the information. It was a Jesuit-educated writer for NBC out of New York who they were passing along the information through their cell phone to report what's going on in Washington State. Let me see if it's going to pull it up. You guys might recall I went out with my loudspeaker out in front of the NBC headquarters in Yakima nearby. It was blasting them for what they did. Unfortunately, nobody cared. All right, I think this is it right here, yeah? All right, so this was one of the people on the ground as well. She just happened to be Jesuit educated too. Juliet Arcodia. Oh, her name just happened to equal 153, like Jesuit Order, also like the Illuminati. And Commander Lee was in charge of the scene. This is the guy who admitted to me on camera that he didn't see anything with his own eyes. He was just going through what was being reported in his cell phone. Here's my video that's been deleted, unfortunately, but it is on my BitChute still. And this is the guy. So the NBC people on the ground were regurgitating the words of David K. Lee, who went to Fordham, Jesuit University in New York. Again, you just see this how it works, you guys. I mean, literally, news media is quoting a local police officer who has no firsthand account of what's going on because the feds are in charge of the scene, but he's the spokesperson. And then the news is there on the ground reporting like they're getting local information, but they're being fed all their information literally from a guy who's all the way across the United States. I'm in Washington State, not Washington, D.C. Washington State's on the West Coast. New York's on the East Coast. If you want to drive, it's about 40 straight hours. Trust me, I did it. But yeah, I remember this like it was yesterday. I was like, how good to document all of this in person. And Fordham's 38, and they end up reporting that a 38-year-old killed a 38-year-old on the 38th day of the year. You know, is this video still up? Oh, this is my recap of it, not the one actually on the ground. Officers out there in their cootie masks. But yeah, it is on my BitChute still. Me interacting with Commander Lee. So yeah, just when people are like, "Oh, Zach's just like covering up for the small caps and blaming Jesuits," like, actually, I've probably done some of the best on the ground investigative work there ever was, proving that this is the network that's doing this. Um, and just when we were in New York and DC, it was crazy. Although I didn't realize how many little Jesuit buildings are just right around the World Trade Center. They've got a little Jesuit HQ little thing right down the street from the World Trade Center, and go back and look at all that too, because the numbers on the buildings were just undeniable. But okay, here's what I wanted to show as well. In light of the parallels being drawn to Sandy Hook with this Madison, Wisconsin Christian school shooting, look at this. Again, this school is 46 years old, right? If people really were killed, it's a recurring pattern. Genesis 46 is about sacrifice. Sacrifice equates to 46. Keep in mind, Catholic equates to 46, and there's 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament, which begins with Genesis. The name of this school, Abundant Life, kind of a mockery, right? Because now it's less abundant with life if people really were killed. Abundant Life, 46, and, or shoot. I thought that was it. Let me refresh here. Tony Evers is the 46th governor. That I hold on, I got to figure out where I put it at. Yeah, this is hilarious too. We'll come back to this. Where did I put it at? Hold on. Hold on. It's an important detail. Okay. Okay. So I just want to remind about this. Okay. This school has the 46 connection. Sandy Hook happened in Connecticut, the state that equals 46, and the target was elementary age students. Elementary is another 46 word. This code's elementary, my dear Watson, once you learn it. But again, sacrifice 46. Remember, when Sandy Hook happened, it was literally 46 days after the flooding caused by Hurricane Sandy. And remember, weather control. JFK was killed at 46. He gave a speech about the future of weather control, September 25th, 1961. Talk about playing God, 61, the God code. The first act of weather warfare was admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday on August 15th of 52. Again, flood is 52, like Earth, like Enlil, the Babylonian god of flooding, et cetera, et cetera. Anyhow, the thing about Sandy Hook, if you look into it, the school was shut down from flooding in 2008. Jerry, I don't know if you're still out there. Jerry was from Newtown, Connecticut. He used to call into our show regularly. And unless Jerry was lying, I still don't have any firsthand account that's true other than Jerry, who lived in the town. Jerry would always call in and tell us that Sandy Hook never reopened after the flooding of 2008. So he said that's also why all the people around here are cowardly to remain silent, because they know that school's been closed for years. It wouldn't surprise me in the least the way we're mocked if they, again, after the flooding of Hurricane Sandy, they use a school that was shut down due to flooding and tell you a shooting's there 46 days later. Hold on. Is it flooding that's also 46? It is. Flooding is 46, for the record. So, yeah, just another parallel in numbers. And don't forget, chaos is 46 too. The motto is order out of chaos. Chaos 46, the Latin for order out of chaos that they etch on Masonic temples is Ordo Ab Chao, which is 46. And yeah. Okay. Now, again, just about who's running the show, you guys. Do you remember earlier this year when this became the viral news for the day? This was the biggest distraction. The Venezuelan gang in Aurora, Colorado, terrorizing an apartment complex. And we point out that we say, what are the odds that this story breaks 74 days before the Superior General's birthday, the leader of the Jesuits? And the name of the gang is Tren de Aragua, which equals 74. And they're from Venezuela, just like the leader of the Jesuits, Arturo Sosa, the current Superior General, is from Venezuela. And remember, his birthday just happened on November 12th. And on that day, the story was that the Venezuelan killer of Lake and Hope Riley waived his trial, just happened to do it on the Superior General's birthday. People said, well, we don't really understand. What a crazy thing to do. He's just giving up his rights. Just does on the Superior General's birthday. And remember, Superior General equals 222, like Lake and Hope Riley equals 222. She was the 20-year-old killed on 2/22. But again, Aurora equates to 74, like the name of the gang. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Aurora's 88. Yesterday, they're back in the news for making arrests of this gang at the apartment complex. And what was yesterday? Yesterday was the Pope's 88th birthday, the first Jesuit Pope. So you mean to tell me out there for all the coincidence there, so that you think this is just a coincidence that the arrests are finally made on the Pope's 88th birthday? Holy Roman Empire alive and well in the Catholic Church. Holy Roman Empire 88 and 74. But again, and I mean, look how dumb these stories are. They just tag and write out Venezuela in English. I mean, you can't just see this as a psyop made for low-functioning Americans. Oh my God, did you see they're tagging Venezuela in English? I mean, it's just, come on, man. But yeah, it was 74 days. Here, go back to the original story. August 30th, 74 days before Arturo Sosa's birthday. This was all the news. I mean, come on. And let's not forget the Aurora Theater shooting, July 20th, typically the 201st day of the year. That was just before Sandy Hook. But August 30th can be 8 plus 30, 38. Can be written 8/30. Colorado, the 8338 state. Murder has the 8338 connection. Fears of death from this killer gang from Venezuela. Remember, to go back to the timeline, the CIA was established in a massive Jesuit 201 ritual on the 201st day of the Pope's age at the time, Pope Pius XII. The words in the CIA's logo equal 201. Their motto, the work of a nation, the center of intelligence equals 201. There's been a lot said about the CIA in Latin America actually being what's behind a lot of these drug pushers and gangs and how they get immunity for so long. Again, Jesuits, CIA, Catholics in action, examples like this right here, a gang being used to terrorize Americans for political agendas. Oh yeah, let's vote for Donald Trump, the other Jesuit puppet, and get him in here to fix the problems. When he's not going to, he's going to go along with the next agenda that they push, like how they say the Event 201 simulation and what came after it derailed his presidency. But then things got so bad with Jesuit-educated Joe Biden and Kamala, who couldn't pass the bar until she took it at the Jesuit University. It got so bad with them, they got to bring back Trump. There's no other choices in a nation of nearly 400 million people. But then also just yesterday, them certifying Jesuit-educated Trump on the Pope's 88th birthday. And we were talking about this years in advance, how Trump would come back as Grover Cleveland. I made the point back then that the Pope would be 88 at the time of the next person taking office. They literally certified the vote yesterday, the Electoral College, on the Pope's 88th birthday. Trump 88 forwards, 47 in reverse is the 47th president-elect. The Republican Party 88. Of course, Republican alone is 47. But again, it was also 34 days before Inauguration Day for number 47 when Francis is 34 and 47. Trump taking office in 2025, sync with the Pope. Again, something else I've been waiting for years is for all the people that blame everything on small caps and saying the small caps are running the whole stage to come up and debate. Adam Green, who's probably the most famous person online for blaming small caps every day, he will not debate me. He refuses to debate me. He's turned down the debate multiple times. Again, Adam Green, the same person who, when he came back from Jerusalem, which is a really weird thing, he's online saying Jews and Israel behind everything, and then he's going to Israel. But I was the first person he asked to interview when he came back from Israel, did the interview, and then took it down the very next day, and then started making fun of my work. And what's crazy now is he talks about Gematria. But yeah, he won't debate. Why will he not debate? He'd be the perfect person to debate, but he won't. Do you think we can answer over here why he won't debate? I'm showing how the Jesuits in the Catholic Church run the whole show. He's misinterpreting a Bible scripture and just sticking on the same talking points. Noahide laws. It's all about installing the Noahide laws. It's like, I don't think so. Is there like Jewish sculptures all over Washington, D.C.? Because there's a lot of Roman ones. I remember when the whole Capitol got down on its knees for the 266th Pope on the 266th day of the year. I remember that. Funny how the Jesuit motto, "Vi Susanum Salvator," equals 266. Funny how they elected Joe Biden number 46, exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. Kamala this year gets 42% of the vote. 42% of the Electoral College vote, 42 days before the Pope's birthday. Trump won the 58th election in the 47th week of the Pope's existence. Now becomes number 47. And let's not forget, Donald Trump, 60. Ex-wife dead exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Nation year, July 14th, 2022, the same day that he comes out and says he's going to run in the election. And please don't be the next dope to say, "I just looked it up and that wasn't the date of his formal announcement." I never said it was the date of his formal announcement. Again, everything is archived on my website, you guys. I'm not talking bullshit. I'm speaking nothing but facts. I covered that day before his wife was even announced dead, why he announced he'd be running in the upcoming election exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Nation year. You can also go back and look. There was a 72-page report that was also in the news that day, a 72-page report by conservatives against Trump based on 60 legal cases. That also came out that day before the news of his wife's death, 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Nation year. Again, and let's not forget that his wife also died 144 days after her own birthday, and the election for the 60th election was 144 days after Trump's birthday, or that RFK Jr. officially got in the race on April 5th, which can be written 5-4 or 4-5, 144 days after the Superior General's birthday by filing his paperwork, only to become allied with number 45, both Jesuit-educated men, Trump at Fordham, RFK at Georgetown Prep. This is why he had his anti-mandate lockdown, anti-mandates and anti-lockdown rally on Georgetown's birthday, January 23rd. And then it's also why he gave his first speech while he was running on Ignatius of Loyola Day, April 19th. But yeah, I mean, just look at these stats up here, you guys. I mean, school shootings in 2024, they're showing this everywhere. A record 83, the big murder number, the song Murder by Number by the Police came out in 83. 38 people died in the 83 shootings. I mean, are you kidding me? Murder, 38, 83. Killing, 38 and 115. What's it say up here? It says 115 others injured. But we talked about how the name of that police chief in charge of the scene in Madison, his name equaled 115. We talked about that too. Madison, 115. Or not, I misspoke. Madison's not 115. I meant to say Masonic. Masonic's 115. Masonic and killing are a lot of like 74, 115, 43. 56 on K-12s. I mean, do we really need to go over it again? The little girl with the SpongeBob with the 56. The Sandy Hook parallels. The school shut up 56 years after its establishment in 56. And just all these stupid stories. Number 59 for the 49ers walks off the field 59 days before Super Bowl 59. He went to University of Minnesota. The Chiefs won their first Super Bowl over Minnesota in New Orleans, where the Super Bowl is this year. All these Joe Montana rituals. It's two teams, the Niners and the Chiefs. Montana won his fourth Super Bowl in New Orleans. Now a different guy with a M for his last name. Got his first Super Bowl in Super Bowl 54 over the 49ers. Last year was Super Bowl 58, the 54th of the modern era. You know what I mean? Joe Montana was 67 years old, the 19th prime. Kansas City equals 67. First team to go back-to-back in 19 years. Goes to overtime, 19-19. McCole Hardman scores the game winner for his 19th career touchdown on a wide-open play. I mean, just total joke. McCole Hardman, 58. Super Bowl 58. Andy Reid stays on 58 losses. Again, who gave you your National Fix League? The same Masons and Jesuits and Illuminati types. Skull and Bones member Walter Camp. Same ones that run your rig news, your rig sports, sync it all up. Somebody left a great comment about where they think somebody, I think it was Mark, who always is connecting sports to everything, talked about a football player from Madison, Wisconsin, who injured his leg and ended up missing a kick in a Super Bowl, and he thinks that's part of the joke as well. He's probably right. All of these psyops are so multifaceted, and they're always paying tribute to the history of this cabal and what they've gotten away with. So every day it's a running joke. It's a running joke. You know, I mean, literally, a little girl sucking on a SpongeBob popsicle. And how easy is it? Hey, honey bunny, come over here. Come over here, honey bunny. We want to give you this popsicle. Can you just say in the camera, can you just say that you heard somebody say, their leg hurts? Oh, sure. Popsicle? My leg, easy. I got that down. My leg, help, help. I got it. You know, everyone's watching this. Oh, how could she? I mean, and then they said that this school, I mean, are you sure this footage isn't from earlier this year when the same school did I guess, a big-time active shooter drill? I saw other people reporting that the police had done an active shooter drill in the same community 3 hours earlier. I wasn't able to verify that, but we've seen that before too. Might very well have been the case. So, all right, for, again, putting my entire channel on the line with this broadcast, with this groundbreaking information, how much did we raise here? Putting the whole livelihood at risk. King Richard TV chipped in 5. He said, this shooting came a span of 241 days after the Columbine High School massacre. Was there something about the LGBTQT thing here? I must have missed a detail. Are they saying that's what the shooter was? Oh, maybe the shooter was going through that? Okay. I didn't have that detail. Interesting. Thank you. Gematria Sense says, can you give a Jewish gematria lesson? Sorry. Well, you can read the first chapter in my first book. I talk about just all the overlap with Hebrew and English in some very key things. So, Ellie says, thank you. I wish more people felt this way. And Rick James gifted a membership, so we raised $10 minus the YouTube theft to 30%. That's $7. So yeah, putting the whole channel and livelihood on the line over $7. Got trolls out there saying I'm only using this knowledge to enrich myself as we rack up $7 with another groundbreaking broadcast. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Before I learned about this knowledge with the actual business I had that was sabotaged a year after beginning to teach this knowledge. But this knowledge does not enrich one. So anyway, what's up? What's up, Rich?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what's up, man?
I had some additional information that I'm pretty sure you didn't have. As far as the shooting goes, we'll start out with the 117. I mentioned in your comments about how the shooter was born on November 7th, 11/7.
Yeah, the day leaving 54 days left in the year, and now we find out 251 days from Eric Harris's birthday, the 54th primal, and right after the PSYOP on 54th Street with Luigi Mangione. So yeah, and CIA, of course, is 117.
Right. Yeah. Right, but it is interesting that you were mentioning the creator of SpongeBob. He's born August 21st, and I just find it interesting that from August 21st to the shooting was 117 days later.
Interesting indeed.
Yeah, and if you read the articles, man, they're making parallels that she made references.
Hold on.
The shooting in Finland. There was a school shooting.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
You're saying the SpongeBob character's birthday is August 21st?
No, I said the creator of SpongeBob.
Oh, the creator. Okay, the creator. I got it.
Stephen Hillenburg. Yeah, Stephen Hillenburg. He's born August 21st. He's actually born in 61. That's interesting too. You're just talking about 61 and the mass shooter. But yeah, so 170 days after his birthday, the shooter born on November 7th, 11/7. and they're making parallels to her, basically referring to a shooting that happened in Finland in 2007, which was on November 7th, 2007, 2 years before she was born. And she was inspired by that as well, that she made references on social media. Again, what are the odds of these things, right? Again, Central Intelligence Agency equals 117. And, you know what's also interesting, too, in out of the SpongeBob connection? You write out SpongeBob, it equals 41. The shooting came 41 days after the governor's birthday. And when you think of Wisconsin, you think of the football team, right? Green Bay. Green Bay has that gematria of 41.
Yeah, yep, that's true. And they had a big
Yeah.
win on Sunday Night Football,
Right
just
before,
before the
yeah,
game.
yeah, just before the shooting too. So, um, oh, the name of that school too, the one in Finland, the one they were making references to, that happened on November 7th, 2007, 2 years before the shooter was born. Just like the shooting was 2 days before two days after the Sandy Hook anniversary. The name of that school was Jokela High School. Literally, that's the name of the high school, Jokela High School. And just think about the mocker, right? They're playing jokes on us. But
Yeah, literally, literally.
yeah. Oh, and of course, I just pointed out the 241 thing. You were asking about the transgender 53 thing. They were reporting that she was a transgender when this news first broke. So that's the 53 connection to 241, 53rd prime, transgender 53. Um, just similar numbers that I've seen with this shooting and the shooting they did. You got when you covered it too on March 27, 2023, the Covenant High School shooting. So, but yeah, that's like the additional information that I had.
Yeah, it's great additional information.
Right.
It all adds up. Her birthday's got the CIA connection. The CIA established in 47. Another number all over this shooting. It makes you wonder
Right.
about MK Ultra. Is if somebody's really shot up here? Is that what's going on? So
Yeah, and I was listening to Clyde Lewis yesterday on his radio program. He talks a lot about MK Ultra, and I think I agree with a lot of stuff he says, man. That these people are these so-called killers, man. They again, they get triggered by certain words and codes to go do certain things. So yeah, shout out to Clyde Lewis, man. Shout out to him. I hear his radio program, and shout out to him. So I definitely see where he's coming from with the MK Ultra stuff, and no doubt about it. I'm pretty sure this girl here was uh, under some kind of MK Ultra programming, and it's just it's sort of like it's just the same storyline they give us every time one of these mass shootings happens. They give you a storyline of mental illness, or she used to be bullied, or and then you just put it out there. Oh, this is why she did the shooting, and then it's just wild how nobody questions it. And, you know, you question it, and it's like people like me who question it. They're like, "Why are you so insensitive?" It's like not insensitive. I'm just asking questions.
yeah, exactly. I mean, those are the same kind of comments I've been dealing with for years. I do this, and then
Yeah.
you read the comment section, it's like, how disrespectful. Let the victims rest in peace. It's like,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
what about exposing tyranny so that it doesn't happen, so there doesn't have to be more victims?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So it won't be the next. That's exactly what we're trying to do. And you got people out there just like, oh, how come you don't predict anything? It's like, oh, this shooting has the 44 predictor right now. It's like, dude, we've made a ton of predictions. You know what I'm saying? I feel right now I feel like I don't need to make any more predictions because I've already made a ton of my own predictions. I don't need to. You know what I mean? But it's just I feel like people are focused on one number. They want it just to stack up just like that. You know? But,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, great research as always, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, take care.
Yep.
Regi says, keep making videos about the drones. You'll get more subs. Do I need to make another video? I mean, I don't do it just to get more subs. I mean, I feel like I covered it well enough. The video should have got more views than it did. And then the thing is, you get people who only care about aliens and UFOs. They stop watching your channel once you start talking about the next thing. There's just so many people are under that psyop, the alien UFO psyop. That's why it's such an interesting thing. That's why they got Ancient Aliens, the show. That's just a viral topic that people care way too much about. Not enough people care about the topic of showing how the news every day is a psyop to mind control the populace. And you look how many people just believe it every day. They don't question anything as they get mocked by a little girl with a SpongeBob popsicle and realize what they're looking at. So. Yeah, and again, it is a tired gag of people asking us to predict the next thing. We have predicted more correctly than anyone you've ever seen in your lifetime. That's not cap. That's not a false statement. That's 1,000% factual, and it's not even close. Like runner-ups, not even close. If this is a marathon, we beat second place like we were the Flash. You know, the second place is just getting off the starting line. We're already finished. No, I get tired of listening to that crap. Predict something then. We predicted a million things. Where you been? Laid out the whole code in repetitive pattern. I mean, did you not see my video when we broke this down in real time? What was the first thing coming out of my mouth? Oh, I bet there's a 44. I bet 44 is going to be all over this. Oh, what do you know? First thing we look at, Mayor's birthday. Just happens to be on her 44th day of her age. Is that not a prediction right there in itself? In another way, it's not like it's our greatest prediction, but it's just like, oh, I guess this guy knows what he's talking about. You think that's what people would say. You think they'd be like, but then see, everyone's so skeptical, like, oh, I bet he already had some insider information. I bet he already knew that without looking at anything. Oh, no, if you look at it, you'd be like, oh, never mind. He wrote a book back in 2017 about mass shootings in 44. I guess he has been talking about this and documenting this for a long time. No, you got that's the thing about the American people. They don't question anything from the authorities. This is the way their minds work. They don't question anything from the TV or the authorities, but any contrary information, they question that to death. That's when their minds work. That's when they question things, when it doesn't come from the authorities. And that's how you can see that everybody's under some kind of spell. Like, oh, so your mind does work in certain ways to question things, just not when it comes from the authorities who lie to you every day and spit in your face with their belly gut laughs. It's like slobbering all over you. Oh, man, can you believe they fell for the SpongeBob girl? Oh, man. You know? That's how it is. But yeah, you guys, again, I got to be honest, man. Doing this for over 11 years, and at times there was success with this work. We were getting big views at a certain period of time, but, you know, I imagine I'll look at this video tomorrow and it'll have like 2.5K views. Who knows? It might be the video they delete the whole channel over again. We might finally have to launch GematriaEffectNews 26. And I will ask myself for the millionth time, is it worth to continue to do this? The lack of support, the lack of people who clip a video. I ask you guys to clip the video. I look, 0 clips. No one clipped the video. No one did a clip and shared it anywhere. Only new video up on me is my troll slicing up and editing 50 different videos to form another false message. New one of those on BitChute. New one of those on YouTube. It's like, yeah, the only people in the world that are willing to share my work are the people who slander me. It's just like, what's the point of this? You know? All right. We had Real Talk hop on here and Jay with open eyes. We'll take a couple more and then I got to move on, get some other things done today. What's up, Real Talk?
I was just trying to fix my mic setting. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, what's up?
Not too much. I just had to thank you for pretty much taking the gloves off on that retard's channel, Chaotic Tooth. I'm a
1,000,000% convinced that that's some kind of agent, weird psyop channel. I mean, calling names while trying to. If you guys missed what happened yesterday, he's like, "Nah, Zach, all this stuff you're talking about is BS. All this is you being a white person, not being accountable for white people shooting up schools." It's like, what the hell is that, man? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's pathetic. When you call it Imperious, the Catholic kid.
He is.
He is. He's a child. He's one of the agents over there. And as soon as you got off, I kind of got in there, and it's not like I was, attacking you, but I was trying to come up with like a logical counter. I said, Zach talks about other anomalies too. Like there's that YouTube channel that all he does is cover shootings, and he says it's all about the shoes. And I couldn't remember the guy's name, his channel name off the top of my head.
That
And
guy,
I said,
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name either. That guy is a total bullshitter, but the one thing he is right about is the shoes and the shooting.
exactly. So that's all I was trying to present to him was like, hey, man, can we at least come to a conclusion that there is these weird anomalies? And I broke it down. I was like, while the person was an active individual inside the school, they're wearing a colorful pair of Pumas. Then when the person is neutralized after the police go through the school, the person is wearing Vans. And he literally completely switches the topic, throws me in the back. And I'm just like, this has happened like at least 3 times where I'm like, okay, let's not talk about any gematria. Let's talk about any numbers. Can we just talk about patterns and recognizing patterns and real intelligence? But no. When you try to talk about abstract, objective data, where there's no argumentation, there's no belief, it gets shut down every single time. So when you just said, I know your brain is, too small. I know you can't really understand what I'm trying to tell you. That shit was hilarious. So I just got to congratulate you on, finally taking the gloves off and beating the retards to a pulp.
Yeah, no, I hate how he doesn't answer things, and then he brings on some weirdo panel member, like the woman who he brought on for me, and she's like, Zach, have you gotten your head checked? Are you sure you're mentally sane? And it's just like some anonymous person behind the camera. It's like, what did I just present that didn't sound sane?
The cat, the one who was represented by
the cat lady, right? The cat lady, right?
And then I'm sorry, but man, Cuts, he really needs to do something about his hormones. Because
you know how his name is spelled, right? His name is spelled E-R-I-N. Have you ever met a guy with that name spelling?
No.
Yeah, that's not a guy.
It's always an A-A-R-O-N.
Right. It's Aaron from that comedy skit. So.
Yeah, I just I had to give a recap yesterday because it was just a perfect. It's like, okay, you're not going to listen to a word that Zach has to say about anything numerical. Can we talk about anomalies that are present on video evidence, picture evidence? It's like, can we just talk about something objective here? Or does it all have to be subjective and absolute?
It's everything about that channel is just bringing it back to race. His whole thing is it's white people not being accountable for white shooters. I mean, what a dumb argument. I didn't even want to address that, but it's like, okay, so how many white mass shooters have there been in the nation's history compared to how many white people have lived here? Are we talking about like a 1 in 10 million of people? So what, the other 9,999,000 should be responsible? I mean, just total bullshit argument. And then I'm the crazy one for pointing out the recurring patterns, please.
Exactly. For the retards, it always has to be absolute because authority dictates their lives. And I hate to keep taking it back to the cluster B, but when you're a narked out retard, because that's what the expert, Sam Vaknin, says, why is the psychopath and the narcissist and the borderline utterly retarded? And he breaks it down for 30 minutes why these people are stunted. And back in the day, they used to get locked up, man. They used to be put in straitjackets and padded rooms because they just can't be a part of a productive society. But maybe the script has flipped. Maybe it's about a demoralized, ideological, subverted society where they don't want productive people. They want a bunch of shitbags like Chaotic Tooth's channel. Because
no, they do want a bunch of idiots. That's obvious. That's what I mean. The book's been written for a long time now. The deliberate dumbing down of America, and here we are in 2024. It's pathetic.
And it's these retarded cluster Bs. And the greatest problem about these idiots is they have an external locus of control. He did it. She did it. Trump did it. Biden did it. They don't believe that there is an internal locus of control, that they have control over their own destiny. That's why they go out and vote. That's why they keep pounding their head against the wall, expecting a result and a solution of a system that is made for destruction, detriment, and destitution. There is no solution in this system. It's an unnatural system. It's not tied into nature. They feed us shit foods. They fill our heads up with shit. And then they have their little stooge agents out there in mass. And what's sick about Chaotic's channel is...
hold on. You got little ones all over YouTube, which is true, but you have big ones too, like Joe Rogan,
Oh yeah, Joe Rogan, who started out at Sacred Cow Productions with Alex Jones, and the guy who runs Sacred Cow Productions, all over his house on camera is all the Baphomet, esoteric garbage. And it's like,
For anyone who's never seen the early days of Joe Rogan's podcast, go back and look up the original episodes. They all started the same way, with him marketing fleshlights and how much he likes to jerk off into a fleshlight. I mean, it's just like that's how every episode began, and he was marketing the jerk off tool, the plastic pussy, and I mean, like literally, if that's the basis of your show and where you began, what do you think has changed in 2024? Just still just serving, just I don't even know how to express it, but hold on. Let's let a couple more people
Sure.
in here are waiting in the back room, and all you guys are welcome to hang on. But Jay was in next. What's up, Jay? Your mic's muted, Jay.
Yeah, I had to mute real quick. No, I was just going. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that somebody like Chaos.
Uh-oh, right when we started talking, it froze.
Am I good now?
You're good now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just find it absolutely just laughable that somebody like him thinks that he can bring up race when he's a black guy that supports Donald Trump. It's just like how much more of a slap in the face can you be to your own people? If you're a black guy and you support any politician on the federal level, it's just absolute projection.
Well, the thing that caught me for a loop is normally he's on there calling black people the N-word with the ER ending. He's gone on some rants calling black people ER over and over. And then yesterday he was making it about white people. I was like, oh, it's a little bit different for his show.
Yeah, he literally proclaimed himself as a racist. Like when the stream that I got on there, he literally said that he was racist against his own people. I only wanted to call in to talk about, like, I know you're talking about the school shooting and yes. Honestly, I feel like it's been a while since they mocked us that hard, like the SpongeBob popsicle. I actually laughed at that one. That was funny. I was come on, man. But I just wanted to make because I noticed the stream was about the basically authority, and when I went up to my job earlier today, I was in a conversation with some of the guys, and we talking about all the times that we close calls with the police, every time that we've been all the times that people that they got fucked up by the police and shit like that, or just arrested and stuff like that. And it just reminded me, and then I saw your stream, and again it just reminded me, just echoed in my head. It's like what the problem is, like the problems that need to be addressed, the fact that people think it's okay for police or a state or anybody to be given the quote unquote perceived legitimacy or the power to do something to you over having something that they deem you shouldn't have. Like motherfuckers was talking about how they just had a little bit of weed on them, and the police was fucking with them, giving them a ticket, ordering them to court, forcefully searching their car, basically like on some stop and frisk shit. And just like I hear stories like this, and it to this day, it's just like I don't understand how people aren't like irate about shit like this. Like, why do we live in a society where people think it's okay for people to stop them, another human being to stop you when you're minding your own business? Oh, you have a flower, you have a bud on you, it's in your bag, you're not, you're minding your business. So what if you were planning to smoke that? So what if you were planning to sell that? Who cares? That's your business. It's just ridiculous. And I've had close calls with the police myself. I mean, I've had some crazy close calls, like literally, like I'm talking about, bro, like. But it's just like I shouldn't have had to worry about that shit. I shouldn't have had to worry about being harassed, because that's what it is. It's harassment. You're rolling up, or you're doing your thing, and the police like, oh, what you got there? Let me see that. Oh, you can't have more than an ounce on you. You can't have more than this on you. Why does it matter? Why do you care? Why is it in your business? And people, especially black people who are along the conservative lens, they'll be like, oh well, You just don't do drugs. Stop resisting. Just don't commit crime. And it's just like these. What bothers me about these people and people like Chaotic Truth, especially like these people that are on the whole Trump line, is that these are the same type of guys that will be along with this stuff. They'll okay this stuff. I'm just like, do you not understand this goes against the freedom that you preach about? Because they claim to be about freedom and less government, less tyranny. They're wearing these 1776 shirts, and I'm like, do you think your ancestors would have, or the founding fathers, right? So, based off what they were supposed to be about, do you think they would have like been okay with stuff like that? No, like it's just the stop and frisk, all this stuff. It's just you guys aren't getting that it's harassment. It's a voluntary exchange. It's nobody has the right to tell you what you can and can't do with your own body, as long as you're not harming or infringing on anybody else.
Jay, I'm going to interrupt just for anybody out here on the West Coast. They're listening. They're like, well, didn't you see what happened when they legalized drugs out here in Portland and Seattle, and how the city went to shit and all this crime happened? What people need to understand is, like, think of it as chemicals. You can use this chemical and it can be very productive and helpful, but then you mix it with these other chemicals, it can turn into a bomb. And that's what they're doing. It's just like once upon a time, all these drugs weren't illegal. A lot of them didn't even exist. Some of them were the medicine. I mean, 100 years ago, cocaine and cannabis were a lot of the pain remedies. But then Big Pharma came in. They said, oh, people can grow this stuff in their backyard. We got to make this illegal because we want it all to be synthetic, and they got to buy it all from us. This is really what happened.
Exactly.
But you have to look at how also why all these people are now using drugs in these crazy ways. It's because they've ruined society, and people are so down and out and looking for an outlet. And a lot of them have come over and had their minds and souls destroyed from war. And now they're crazy drug addicts out on the street. There's a ton of people like that all over Seattle right now that are vets that are now drug addicts running around acting insane on the streets of Seattle, Portland. So again, people are not able to look and see the bigger picture of how all this manipulation, and then the authorities sit there and say, see, we're tricking you into thinking that these mind-altering substances are evil. Now you're really believing our reefer madness propaganda. It's like, if these things were used correctly, they could have been used to treat ailments that would have been a lot safer for you than the pharmaceutical drugs that are being promoted. They could have also been used for the right time and right place to open minds and get people to think about things. So anyway, I got to get off here in a minute. So I want to give everybody just a quick second to close out. I can tell Sweet Lady needs a respite in the back from Young One. But real quick, Jay, closing piece, and then we'll go to Rich, and then we'll go to Real Talk, and then Endgame, and then we'll wrap this thing up. But closing words, Jay, what do you want to leave?
Yeah, I pretty much already got everything that I wanted to say. You pretty much layered the final point that I was going to make, is that it's all about culture. It's the same thing with the guns. Oh, you can't allow everybody to carry guns. Yeah, because everybody's heads is messed up now. But if everybody had a culture where we were more responsible with this stuff, and it all goes back to mentality and how we live. And that's the point I was gonna make. That's really what it's about. But like you said, they ruin society to where we don't think on the level that we should be thinking on now, because they've culturally ruined society.
Indeed. All right. Well, I appreciate it, Jay. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
Rich, what's up?
Yo, man. I just want to say, hey, appreciate what you do, man. Hey, you inspired me a lot to get out on the street corner and pound pavement, if you will. I wouldn't consider it pounding pavement. I'm getting there, starting conversations. You know what I mean? I'm not out there with a megaphone, but I'm out there talking to people, man. I'm out there talking to people, making good conversations. You know what I'm saying? I met a guy, and he listened really well, and he got everything I was saying. He was like, he got it, and I really appreciate that, man. So yeah, I'm out here doing that. I do that every day. I try to get out here on the street corner, and I try to, educate people what's going on, and I keep it simple for them, man. So, oh yeah, I just wanted to add in too, about the school shooting, right? The Christian one. They said the manifesto. Her manifesto was titled "War Against Humanity," right? War against humanity equals the same thing as abundant life. 109, like shooting.
So I know from a million times covered it, manifesto equals 39, and the shooting would have been 39 days after her birthday. So
yeah, it was 39 days after her birthday, and they had a report that she went to school with a faculty of 390 students. I don't know if you caught that, but yeah, I
again, masonry. secrecy, federal, all 39.
Yep. And there's 39 books in the Old Testament. But yeah. So yeah, and I'm gonna just say it here, man. Fuck what any retard has to say. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. You know, I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I don't care what retards think, man. You know, I don't care what retards think. They're retarded, and I know I'm smarter than them. So,
Yeah, and by the way, CT keeps making the argument about how once you get above age 25, then your brain will develop. Again, some people are a lot smarter than an adult ever will be by the time they're about age 12. To me, and I don't feel like my brain's changed at all, honestly, since I was a teenager to now. I'm not sure that any of that's even true either about your brain's not.
No.
Some people are just a lot smarter than other people, point blank, period. Now, what CT did catch about you is you mentioned you're German. There is something about Germans and intelligence. I'm part German, too. One of the smartest guys I ever knew was a full German. And that guy could go out and get wasted all night and then go pass the law exam the next day like it was nothing. I couldn't explain how intelligent he was, but he was a full-bred German. And I think that's part of the reason they destroyed that country, too. I think that's part of the reason they destroyed Germany, because they don't want intelligent people.
The reason I get my German roots is because my pops, rest in peace, man. My pops, his real dad was German, you know, so he was mixed. But and he was a smart guy, too. You know, he was really smart. What's messed up, man? My pops, man, he was a really smart guy. He wasn't dumb as people thought he was, man. He was a smart guy, but he just liked to drink a lot. You know what I mean? That's ultimately what killed him too, is the alcohol. So, but yeah, man, I don't care what these retards think. And you saw what happened when I went on that panel on Chaotic Troll. That's what I call him, because that's all he is a troll. Man, you see what them people were saying, his legion of lemmings, the army of lemmings. They're like, oh, he's a Nazi. I'm like, bro, not all Germans are Nazis. You know
all they do over there is say stupid stuff. It's like it's like a bad stereotype over there.
Yeah, he's like, oh, they're like, yeah, you're a Nazi. I'm like, bro, you're under Nazi programming. You know what I mean? you guys are under Nazi programming. You guys are that's programming right there. You guys think all Germans are Nazis? Not all Germans are Nazis, man. That's just programming. That's programming.
Well, I know if they stopped bringing up that apophenia word once we pointed out it came from a Nazi scientist, they put that away. So
yeah, I had to use that on them, man. And you know what? And they stopped saying that word. They have stopped saying that word. I haven't kept up with them, man, because again, I don't keep up with people like that, man. I don't waste my time.
I know the Catholic kid knows his place when I come on there, because he didn't even try to say anything anymore.
So Imperious, and that woman questioned the ponder, man. I had to put her in her place. She kept saying, "You know so much about the Jesuits." I'm like, yeah, I know they weren't created in the 1400s. But,
exactly.
Yeah, she kept saying that. All right,
I gotta get out of here, but appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna save Real Talk to close us out. We'll go R, Elohim, and then Real Talk gets the last word. Oh shit! Hit the wrong button. What's up, R? What's up, R?
What up, Zach? I came a little late, but just want to throw in a little thing. You already went over the drones. And you already, did you go over the tornado warning or the tsunami warning that we had in California as well?
As Netflix's hit viral shows about tsunamis.
Yeah, and then we got a tsunami warning last week, and then it went away, and then we had a tornado touchdown actually in Scotts Valley out here. Did you hear about that as well?
The one in the Bay Area?
Yeah, Scotts Valley.
Yeah, after the Twisters movie came out on the 201st day of the year, yeah.
Wow. But yeah, that's all I have to say, man. It's just, and then have you ever heard of Project Bluebeam?
Yeah, I have a whole video on it. It's connected to 1994 as well. A lot of the alien stuff goes back to 94. The word alien itself equals 94. Somebody pointed out to me that Project Bluebeam equals 86. I overlooked that because I was talking about how the thing going on in New Jersey is 86 years after the War of the Worlds broadcast. So
yeah, that's Project Bluebeam, man. I think I think a big false flag's coming, man. I'm pretty sure you're on it too, but yeah, that's all I gotta add to the chat. Just like what Zach always says, man, get the perishables, get food that can last you at least, what'd you say, Zach, a week or two? I'd say like at least a month or dang near half a year, and these people are crazy.
If there's fallout in the U.S. for a month, you might be, might not be. Yeah, there might be. It'd be bad in the U.S. if there was fallout for a month. You probably wouldn't exist to finish your month worth of perishables.
That's true, man. But yeah, that's all I have to just add to the thing that it's already packed full with information. But guys, just be aware. Don't be so oblivious to your surroundings. Just kind of pick up on things. But thanks for having me up, though, Zach.
All right, appreciate it, man. All right. Oh, snap. I hit the wrong one again. What's up, Elohim? You got to unmute yourself.
How you doing, Zach? Can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. What's going on? Well, I did hear him, but now I don't.
Hello?
There you go. Now I hear you.
Wait, hello, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah, last night.
All right. I can't hear him. Let's all right, let's close it out with Real Talk. What's up, Real Talk?
Put the Kay Griggs interview in the back chat. I don't know if you've ever seen that 7-hour interview from 1997. Kay Griggs Talks. Have you ever heard about that?
I don't think I have seen this.
Okay. If you could link that in the chat, man, that is the most important truth-related video that anyone can watch about how the world's being ran. And she talks about the power structure that she believes has been used since the time of Egypt, is headquartered out of France, and it's the military that's running everything. And I'm like, seems like she can't say the word. She can't say the big J word, but she breaks down how these shootings actually happen. She says that Mossad essentially trains with the Israelis, or the Mossad trains with the SEALs in this interview, and that they perform wet ops on business CEOs and people that they have to get rid of in the United States. Remember the San Antonio Walmart shooting? I think it was San Antonio. It was down in Texas. It's like a Walmart connected to a mall. I think you covered this years ago.
Yeah.
There was actual eyewitness testimony that countered the stooge Patsy from the grainy 360 or 240p camera, where they have this guy wearing khakis and a black t-shirt. And there was 3 people who were eyewitnesses being interviewed by the local news. And this is, outside of the mainstream. It was boots on the ground. Those reporters got out there right away. They interviewed a Hispanic lady who needed a translator. They interviewed a young Hispanic girl who was born here, who spoke, English really well. And then they interviewed just like a middle-aged white dude. And this is 3 different news stations. And they all described the shooters dressed in SWAT gear, military gear from top to bottom, with helmets, the bulletproof vests, and they all had, big.
Hold on. This reminds me. All right. At least 2 other times I remember this. The day of the Sandy Hook shooting, all day the reporting was the same. 3 men in camo fatigues were seen running out into the woods behind the school. All day it was that. And then by the end of the day, it was the mix up with Adam Lanza and his brother Peter Lanza. So the reporting changed at the end of the day. And there was a report, it's in the time I've been here. There was reportedly a mass shooting at a workplace, and all day the report was it was 3 white men in camo fatigues. And then by the end of the day, it was a Middle Eastern man and wife married couple. Do you remember this one from years ago? The people that shot up their workplace?
Exactly. So these are legit military hit squads performing all of this, not these little white geeks, right?
That become the story, right? It could be the same thing. If somebody really was killed at this school, it could be the same thing. Some military goes in there, and then they got a story. This little girl did it by the end of the day, and then they got a picture of her skeet shooting. Look, you guys, her parents. See, that's what I hate about watching this. They're like, the parents taught her how to do skeet shooting. It's like, yeah, and what I mean, it seems like something a good parent should do with their child. They try to make it look like it's a bad thing. So
and the thing, the worst part about all of this is that this interview, the only reason she's able to give these accounts is because her husband, who had gone missing for 2 years at the time, who killed his first wife, was Colonel George Griggs. He was the chief of staff to the commandant of the Marines, and they were all homosexual, having gay sex orgies, and that's how they controlled these guys. She said that her husband in this interview was partying with Albert Einstein and Saudi royals in the 50s at Princeton, having gay sex orgies. When I say this is the biggest bombshell about the power structure and how they control people, she doesn't come out and say the Jesuits, but she's referring to this military order out of France who's been running things for a long time. And Joe Rogan won't talk about this interview. Alex Jones will never bring up Kay Griggs. Brendan O'Connell is the one who pushes Kay Griggs and is trying to get Kay Griggs to be interviewed by people because she's still alive. They haven't murdered her yet. But and Zach Mann, the channel that this is posted on, he's got the breakdown of how Alex Jones, Joe Rogan. There's a guy named Matthew North. He was running around with Adam Green and all the white nationalists. He blew the lid on a lot of different people with his documentaries. And guess who came up dead? That same Matthew North. So some of Matthew North's content is on the Zach Mann channel. So I encourage everyone to subscribe to Zach Mann and maybe even download some of these clips that, YouTube. This Kay Griggs interview has been buried so many times. It's not even funny. But she breaks it all down and she reads from her husband's diary. She pretty much says, my husband was responsible for the Beirut bombing in Lebanon, the original one. So
and that reminds, again, the Beirut barracks bombing impacted the French and Americans. And then remember what happened on Obama's birthday, Barack, which sounds like Barrack, you had the huge explosion in Lebanon. It's like, and they blamed it on fireworks when the Jesuits are known for trying to blow up King James with fireworks. And no doubt that's why they got us shooting off fireworks over here on the 4th of July. But yeah, again, a military order, the Jesuits, founded in France. A lot of the founders studied in France. I mean, it is so obvious, but it is funny how people won't say the word.
And the only reason she knows all of this is because George Griggs would come home blacked out drunk, and he would pillow talk with his wife and tell her everything. I guess there was a double, and I'm going to close you on this. This is how she said these people don't buy into any of the religions. These people are existentialists. They'll do whatever it takes. She said her husband and the commandant of the Marines was General Al Gray, who basically got married after 35 years, and he was just, basically a catcher. He wasn't a pitcher, he was a catcher only. She describes, and she's like, I shouldn't even be saying this, but she pretty much said that there was a British double agent who was a professor at a Californian university who stood up to these guys. He was working for this group. She says it's all retired military that's running this. She said Henry Kissinger was at the top of the Boston mob, and her husband and other retired military were running the New Jersey mob. She said Kissinger was moving weapons from the Boston mob to Ireland. So she breaks down this whole thing, but what was I going to say now? I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the British double agent. So General Al Gray was so sick and twisted that he wanted Marine snipers, assassins, in the dormitories with the co-eds. He wanted them like one room to be a student, the next room we're going to put a sniper, next room we're going to put a student. It's like, to do that to a dormitory where you got these, aggressive guys who are focused on killing, next to students, this professor stood up. He was a double agent. He said, guys, we're taking this too far. Well, they said, oh, we're taking it too far. Al Gray, George Griggs, and the rest of Gray's boys, they were all homosexuals having orgies, went undercover at the Californian University and killed the double agent professor for standing up and saying, we can't put these snipers in with the students. Anyone who stands up to their ways gets neutralized. So this is a powerful interview. I'm gonna keep it there, man. But thanks for your time, like always. And I just wanted to make more sense about what we're seeing. If it does happen, and there really are victims, who and how is it happening?
Indeed, yeah. Excellent points. And I'm going to watch this Kay Griggs interview. I find it funny. It's on a channel called Zach Man. That's what everyone used to call me growing up. I'm sure anybody named Zach was probably called Zach Man for a nickname. So
that's crazy, man. What synchronicities? You know what I'm saying? And like I said, we've met in person, so it's like there's and we share a number as well. So it's interesting, but I'll keep it there, man. And thanks for your time again, and just keep pushing, keep up the fight like always.
Appreciate it. I got to ask you, did something happen to your mother?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know who this is. All right, man. You're very well spoken. I didn't realize on the street. I didn't realize how well spoken you were at the time. So.
Yeah, I was the one dropping science about what was going on, but I just I have a knack now I've used the gematria to actually go through YouTube channels, and you can pinpoint how many agents are in people's live chat by decoding their names. It's that stacked up. It literally is like the channel Fresh and Fit. They have an overlap with Washington, D.C. They have an overlap with what's his name? Anthony Fauci. Essentially what I'm saying is all these people on YouTube have gematria within their names. They're even applying gematria to the agents' names, such as Chaotic Tooth. And then his people coming out and saying he's 5'6". I know he's an 8-ounce pop can, but I don't need the little 5'6" detail. That just tells me right away, this is a ritual.
Uh-huh.
But I'll keep it there, man. Like I said, I don't think, see, there's something here about the natural order of this code and certain individuals who are predestined. I think you're one of them. That Aboriginal doctor that I was telling you about, Dr. Ali Muhammad, there is a side of nature that is pushing this code. And I think these people understand that they can't stop it. If this code shows up naturally, not artificially, not in a contrived manner, something more powerful is something more powerful is using their code to push a positive light, real light, not this supposed illuminated, caricatures that we've come across, people that have that the natural order has shined upon to be shepherds, to lead, and you're one of them. I don't care what people want to talk about and all the hater shit. You've dedicated a lot of fucking time, man. And that's what it really comes down to, it. Dedication.
Indeed.
So,
Indeed.
thanks again, man.
It'd be hard to say anybody's been more dedicated in the time I've been here. I've been here every day, around the clock. So,
and it's like I've made more sense of the gematria. Like I said, the most powerful stream that could ever happen, and would be between you and the person that has identified all of the backdated history and all of the pseudographical characters that really weren't real people, who has the connection, and it's just like, if you and that Aboriginal doc, the guy who, he literally has his own nation going, it's ARNA, the Aboriginal Republic of North America. He runs it. He's written a lot of different books. I mean, the white man who wrote the Bible is a very powerful one. But there's something to this natural order that he describes where it's like, there's something fueling us that is greater than the supposed God that they've told us about. Like there's this force, I hate to say it like Star Wars, but you either have it or you don't.
indeed. People in the chat want to know, do you have your own channel where you're posting content?
No, I pretty much show up, and my only job is to show up and to troll the trolls, bully the bully.
Sure.
I content really, I show up at channels and I add certain pieces and I help people build information, but it's about resonant frequency. That's what this entire thing is about. That's what gematria is, a part of the resonant frequency. And Dr. Ali Muhammad could stream with you about this, but once you guys couple and work synergistically, he doesn't even want to tell Black people. He doesn't even want to fill them in about all the gematria, because he says they're not ready yet. They're not ready to be that pissed off, and they're not ready to like bring out pitchforks and torches yet. He knows about gematria, and believe it or not, gematria comes from, I can identify where gematria comes from. And it's all been stolen. It's all been backdated, and it's a sick, twisted game that they've pulled. But I tip my hats to who's ever in control, because just as consistent as Zach has been, they've been consistent for hundreds of years, putting the screws to society. So you really do have to respect them for their ability to con us, manipulate us, and pull the wool over our eyes. If you're retarded, of course, but you give them their credit. They deserve credit as well. So that's what the doc always talks about. He goes, I give it to these people. They've stolen from us. They've subverted us. They've denationalized us. They've genocided us, and they're on top. So it's just like, you really have to give these shitbags their credit. They are fucking evil and they're good at it, but we are good at fighting back. And it's a battle of David versus Goliath, but I'll keep you there, man.
Well, by we, there needs to be more we that are good at fighting back. Right now, there's not enough people fighting back. Yeah, these people are determined to dominate, and a lot of people, they just don't have a clue what's going on. So,
and if
appreciate
you want
it, man.
the last part, if you want a little Zach Jr., the doc can help you out with that. He wrote a book called The Power of Sex, and the Aboriginals came up with the Manziel mating system. You can literally have a boy or a girl with this ancient information. I don't know how they figured this out. It probably took a very long time. It's based off of astrology, but if you know the month of in which the baby will be conceived and the age of the mother, you can predict if it's going to be a boy or a girl. I don't know the schematics. I don't know the science behind it, but this thing is thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. And it probably took a long time to figure out, but the Manziel mating system, that's where I heard about this Aboriginal doctor. So it's crazy, man. If you want some Zach Juniors running around, an army of Zach Juniors, you can make it happen.
The Manziel mating. All right, I'm gonna look it up. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I got to get you all of his books. I don't want to. My buddy who's a Hood SBE, he's the one who plugged me in. Okay, I plugged Hood SBE in with all the gematria, and he plugged me in with all the backdated history and like this. I had no clue about it, so it's been a big synergistic sort of event here, man. But once I get you plugged in, I don't know what's gonna happen, man. They might bring out those teams. Hopefully not. Hopefully not, man. But
Indeed.
Godspeed, Zach. You keep pushing, man. I appreciate the time.
All right, will do. You have a good day. Thank you.
Peace out.
All right, take care. All right. If you got here late, rewind the stream, went through all the information that had to do with the topic of the video. Of course, we start taking participants at the end. We usually get into other topics. But I'm going to definitely have to check out this K. Griggs interview in pieces. It's nearly 8 hours long, but hey, you do an hour over 8 days, you'll get right through the whole thing. So I actually have not heard that before. Sounds like I'm missing out. And I do love this on the channel, Zach, man. This is perfect. All right, you guys. Thanks again, everyone who hits the like and the share. I do wish more people would chop up the videos and share them. And until next time, Truth Seeker.